Check 1 2 3. Check, check, check. Just seeing what my microphone volume is currently. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream today. I'm Evan Mitchell. I'm music director of the Kingston Symphony Orchestra, and I'm here today to play through a revelation of a game. This is Journey, a truly remarkable digital experience about asking big questions and determining the answers through your experience. The beating heart of this game, it's much more than a game to me, is Austin Wintory's incredible score. And Austin is going to be joining us this weekend, Saturday and Sunday upcoming. The Kingston Symphony Orchestra, the Isabel Bader Center for the Performing Arts, on Saturday evening and Sunday afternoon, where in addition to performing Bill Rosen's fanfare for Canada's 150th and Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet Overture, we are going to be performing the world premiere of the concert performance, very first concert performance of Traveler, a Journey Symphony. This is the symphonic suite that Austin composed to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Journey and its music, and recorded it with the London Symphony Orchestra. The Kingston Symphony will be the very first in the world to perform this piece live, and I could not be more excited. So what this stream is about today is just giving you a sense of Austin's music, how it relates to the game and the game experience, and I can give a little bit of insight here and there. I'm really hoping to have the music speak mostly for itself, and once we switch over to my gameplay, I'm going to start my captions. There'll be live captions so that they'll stay on the screen after I speak. Beyond that, I'm kind of hoping the music is the star of this rather than my speech. So I will keep my microphone on. If you can let me know once the music starts playing whether or not the balance is good, I can certainly adjust that here. And the captions do interfere with my frame rate a little bit, but I'm hoping that you will understand that this isn't a let's play. This isn't this sort of thing. It's more of an expose about how incredible Austin's music is, and we're really hoping that you can join us for this miraculous event this Saturday and Sunday. Welcome to those people in the chat. I see there's a couple of people there already. Please do say hello. I'm monitoring the chat as I play. I've got my mission control all set up here. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, so please do bear with me. But the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to jump into Journey's first track. This is a track called Nascence. It is the beginning of The Traveler and the Traveler's Journey. This is what plays in the intro as you're waiting to load up the game. It's the very first thing that Austin wrote, the theme for Journey, and it is the backbone of the musical construct of this incredible piece. I'm going to switch over. I'm going to play that for you now before we start the game proper. So here we go. The theme first introduced with the cello, now taken up by the bass flute. The cello returns. And now the cello and the flute play it together. So that's nascence. That's the very beginning. I'm hoping that the captions show up properly now. On my screen, they're showing up in the, here we go, the top 4 lines. That's very good. Hopefully we find that those captions are readable. They look okay on my stream. Hello to everyone in the chat again. Hello to Robert Daniels. Visions and Sound. Austin wrote a lot of magnificent stuff. I'm a true fan of his work. And I won't get into it right now, but the beginnings of our correspondence were from when I originally programmed Nascence and Apotheosis for a Christmas concert with the Kingston Symphony, of all things. And that seemed to tickle him, and we've sort of been chatting ever since, back and forth. So, again, this is a concert that is taking place in... oh, why are my captions stopped? That's odd. Check 1 2 3. Check check check. Can you hear me? Let's try this again. Oh, there we go. Seems as though there was just a little bit of a backup in the captioning. So we're about to start a new journey. I should say again, Journey is less of a game than it is an experience. When you begin, this is what you have in front of you. There is no heads-up display, there is no dialogue, and I am also playing this game offline. One of the defining features of this game is the ability to play a very unusual form of co-op. I'll get more into that once we get into later levels. But for the moment, let's begin our journey. This opening cue, when we see the opening sort of cutscene, this represents the second movement of Traveler's Suite, called The Call. Many of these movements are based after are named after the Campbell hero's journey pillars, and of course, Journey is essentially the hero's journey in a very, I would say, contemporary, abstract, and magnificent telling. Here we go. Let me know if my music mix should be a little higher. In this game, the main character, the Traveler, the Nameless Traveler, is represented by the cello. In-game, played by Tina Guo. So here's our Traveler, seemingly newly born. Sorry, fighting against my motion controls here. Our own principal cello, Wolf Tormund, will be performing the solo cello. So silence here amidst this desert landscape. I don't mind you sharing it all, KK. Thank you very much. So now as the synth comes in, we see that our ultimate goal here is this mountain with the split peak and the brilliant light. So as this game begins, you have solo instruments, you have a lot of synth pads. As the game progresses, it becomes more and more explicitly orchestral. Of course, the suite itself is entirely orchestral, something that Austin orchestrated for the 10th anniversary of Journey's release and recorded with the London Symphony Orchestra. So we come to this first aspect of the game here. That first sigil gives us our scarf. And now I have temporarily the ability to fly just once. Can't fly until I refill it with these carpets. So we have a diverging path. Obviously we have something over here. And we have our goal as stated by the presence of the mountain over here. I'm not going to speedrun this, but again, the purpose of this playthrough is to give a sense of Austin's music and how it is the engine that makes all of this go. Make it. There we go. I'm going to grab a couple of the scarf enhancers. So again, you will hear a lot of synth pads to start. Very atmospheric. Design, the music, everything points us towards our goals. Things open up a little bit now with this beautiful instance of the scarves. Just to help me out a little bit. Every time you grab one of those sigils, your scarf gets a little longer. It gives you just more capacity for flight and for jumping. Now, it's not necessary. It just makes life a little easier. So here's the first instance in which we get a little bit of the quote-unquote roar of the game. Remember, there are no words in this game. The first time we hear a word in English... Actually, we never hear a word in English, even in the credits. We hear other foreign languages. But it is a story told without words. So I am monitoring the chat, everyone. If you want to ask any questions about the concert, about the Kingston Symphony, please do. as we move onward, we come to the next musical movement of the soundtrack and of the symphonic suite, Threshold. This concert came about because Austin Wintory and I had a lot of back and forth. I have performed music from Journey several times with a bunch of different orchestras, and when I saw that he had orchestrated this magnificent piece, I asked him if the music was for concert performance, and he said, short answer, yes. And so fast forward about a year, and here we are. Okay, so one of the defining features of Journey, the game, is that you can play with other people, but the way that the co-op works is that you're matched up with one random person who's at the same point in your progress as you are, and you communicate with each other. That's the only way that you can do it, with these little chirps. You can't talk to them. You can't get into a party. You don't know their name. Most importantly, you can't get in the way. I have turned that off for the purposes of this concert simply because this is a journey through the music. More so than a journey proper. So right now we just have ambient sound. But we see that our goal is up there. Robert, to answer your question, video game music is often hard to perform with symphonic concerts because you end up in a scenario where all the composers are still living and the licensing is very expensive. For example, companies like Nintendo have very strict control over their intellectual property, which is entirely legal and within their rights to do. We are going to be performing a really interesting, one-of-a-kind symphonic video game concert later in the year, in which we have a speedrunner perform a full 80% run of the A-sides of Celeste, and a full clear of the DLC route of Cuphead, and the orchestra will play the music live in sync. Today's about Journey. So you can see now I'm making progress, and my carpet friends are beginning to lead the way to creating a path for me to get to my next goal. I'm going to see if I can grab one more. It's over there, right? I'm going to grab one more glyph, so just so we can get a bit more of the ambient music for this section. Still pads, but more motion. Concert's really going to be something. It's one of a kind. As far as I can tell, no one has ever done it on that scale. So opening up more and more. I'm playing this more or less blind. It's been a while since I have played since I've had my last journey myself. Path. See, folks, this is why you should always practice first. Okay, I'll use this guy to get up there. Sorry, this is taking significantly longer than I had anticipated. Yeah, you know, working with, it depends on the, not just the composer, but the game studio. Because, not to get too deep into the weeds with this, but there is something called work for hire, which means that basically the composer, when they're putting together the score for the game, is essentially signing away the original rights to the game studio, not themselves. And sometimes that's not the case, particularly with smaller studios. At any rate, now that we've slowly but surely been putting this path together, staccato, a bit more harmony. It seems like these captions are doing actually pretty decently. So now that I've fully crafted my path, that's sort of the most open that this movement gets orchestrally, and you'll see there's a wonderful dynamic moment as I begin to cross these gaps. One of the amazing things about Journey is it's a very carefully curated experience. There is room for you to be free, and the music accommodates that, but there are a lot of little things that guide you towards where you need to go, and incredible dynamic moments where the musical focus shifts. So in between levels, we're confronted by these white-robed ancients. Who are they? What do they do? What do they represent? So we get kind of a glyph or a pictographic representation of the various things that we have experienced and will experience. A lot of solemnity and wonder in the music. I truly believe this is the greatest contemporary orchestral score, symphonic score that we've yet heard in this medium. That's a sentiment that I've expressed to Austin several times. Onto the road of trials. This is the closest we get to sort of a miniature cello concerto. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, I'm so sorry. We're still in threshold. So here we get a sense of sort of the wonder of what's in front of us, but the space and the expanse of the desert. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the art direction for this game is honestly some of the best you'll ever experience. to glide down the dunes. Very nice. Activity in the music now that we have our carpet companion here. Now the carpet leads us towards our destination. I think there's something more over this dune. For the moment I'm going to keep my eye on the prize of this mountain with the split peak. You'll notice those shooting stars. So we see something in the distance there. I'm going to take a peek as to what this is. This might be one of the extra little lower bits. Nope, that's just something buried in the sand. So there's another wonderful dynamic shift as we have this magnificent moment of encountering this strange edifice. More warmth, a little bit more cello. Again, the cello is your constant companion here. We're going to go over to this carpet over here. Friends, I think we do. Why don't we go up here? Grab this glyph. So for the moment, we are now going to continue onwards. Inexorably towards our ultimate goal. Yes, the cello represents the traveler. You'll hear occasionally a viola, so it's similar in color than the cello, but distinct and different. That represents other players. And the flute, you know, we hear an awful lot of bass flute, alto flute. I think, if I'm correct about that, that's perhaps your surroundings or these sorts of things. There may not be quite the same direct relationship. But the principal instruments you hear acoustically often are the alto or bass flute, the cello, of course. Do I need to go in here? Can I get up there? Oh my goodness, I swear I've played this game quite a lot. Flute and harp, yes. Oh, there's my carpet friend, of course, yes. He helps me get up. Must have missed him somehow. So this is our first glimpse into who we would consider perhaps some of our antagonists, these opposing sentient machines. Yeah, Austin recently did a talk at, he did a Zoom interview lecture with the Queen's University video game music students. Deeply indebted to him for that. Talking about the various iterations, relationships, these sorts of things with regards to the instruments and their connections. The big thing is that the cello is our player here, our constant companion throughout. We won't be hearing too much viola because I am playing this offline, but you'll get the idea. So one of the challenges that Austin said about this reimagining, of course, is that the original, as you'll hear, is there are some acoustic instruments, but it's a lot of synthetic, to start at least. A lot of pads, a lot of synthetic sounds. The joy of the Traveler Symphony of the Traveler, is that you have this incredible orchestral palette. Yeah, so maybe the ancients are the bass flute. We hear some bass flute here. Reverence for the past, this sort of thing. Asking those questions, I'm delighted to answer them. So this takes us to the Road of Trials. This is a huge feature for Tina Guo, and will be for our principal cello, Wolf Torman. Curated moment right here. Okay, good. I think I have a long enough scarf that I don't need to hit the bottom. Let's see. This is a moment that can be very useful to have two players. The co-op, you can't. Oh, the music will start up again when I hit the sand. Playing with another player, you can't get in each other's way. You can only help. It's beautiful. It's very thoughtful and genius, actually. destructive as this is, there's also a lot of serenity. Okay, so we're coming up to arguably the greatest single moment of art design in a game ever. Just a marvelous performance by Tina Guo throughout this entire soundtrack, and on the Traveler suite as well. So now things get a little bit more hectic. Big build up in the percussion. So now we learn a little bit more, or at least we see a little bit more about these sentinel machines. These little interstitial moments in between with those sentinels. All of these moments, the music here eventually becomes its own movement called confluence later on. That's very kind, Agent. Yes, by all means, everyone like the stream, but essentially this is here for all of you. We're hoping that you can come to our concert, Kingston Symphony. If you go to kingstonsymphony.ca, there are still tickets for both performances. Saturday night is the one that's currently there's more of a selection. Sunday is almost sold out. How much of the multiplayer music is present in the Symphony score? I'll answer that in just a second. Now that we're onto a more dark, more somber area, this is called the Descent, after the Road of Trials. Obviously much more ominous. When we first hear these pads in the orchestra, it's trombones, I believe. Austin is an extraordinary orchestrator and has used the orchestra really to its fullest potential. It's breathtaking throughout this entire suite. How much of the multiplayer element? When we get to the opening of Threshold, the third movement, I believe, in the suite, it begins with little flute chirps like this, representing the communication between two players. And there are a lot of viola features as well. We're glad that you're going to be there on Sunday. It's going to be such an amazing show. I've been waiting forever. Oh, look at this. There's no hiding from me. One of the most wonderful experiences you can have playing this game when you play multiplayer is to be joined by someone who has played through the game several times and has a white robe I have a white robe on my PS3. This is on my PS5. I have not gotten all of the lore glyphs and all of the scarf enhancers on this account, but I am a white robe on PS3, I'll tell you that. In the Symphonic Suite, it goes directly from Road of Trials into Descent. So, the thing about the suite is that it's not necessarily a literal moment-to-moment recreation of the original soundtrack of Austin's, but it is a symphonic suite in its own right. So very quiet, very ominous. Of course, we have our carpet friend foolishly heading off into the distance as we encounter these monoliths. Very shocking moment in the game coming up. Constantly get hit by those sentinels here and in the one of the later portions of the game. The unfortunate thing about that is you start to lose your train. So I'm going to try and be careful. A lot of ambient sounds, a lot of frightening synthetic sounds that, again, in the suite, Austin handles with the full power of the brass, the winds. You know, while we're here, let's just take a look at one of these glyphs. So these are extra little moments here. Get a sense of what's going on. Hey, Ben. Welcome to the stream. Ben Perrier's here. He's our principal trombone. I was just speaking about the trombones. Only good things, Ben, I swear. Chat will back me up. Austin has said about the Traveler Suite Symphony that it's a symphonic suite, that it allowed an opportunity for the orchestra to let loose in a manner that he couldn't have in game. It would have been too much. Too nightmarish. Things. Safe for the moment. So, in this score, the original score, like a lot of anxiety, a lot of brilliant coloration, showcasing just the quite frankly, horrifying nature of what's going on right now. This reminds me of a bit of a more recent game called Inside, made by Playdead, the creators of Limbo. What that game is missing is a score of the same level of intensity and genius, quite frankly, that we have here. So here, pulling their focus is inevitable. Big build-up. encounter with these white-robed ancients. Yeah, here's some bass flute. So I'll tell you a little bit about my first experience with this game. I didn't know anything about it. A friend of mine had told me that it was magnificent. I shouldn't read anything at all. I should just play it. And I had a gift card for the PlayStation Network that I had for Christmas that I hadn't used. I want to say around April of 2013. My wife was gone. She was out of the house. I was sick as a dog with the flu. So I thought, well, here we go. And I was able to, while I was sick, I was able to play through this game in one sitting just like this, as you should. And by the end of it, I was on my knees on the floor in tears, as were many of the playtesters, as the story goes. So this is called Confluence. No, pardon me, Atonement. This is Atonement, a vertically based temple. It's obvious that by virtue of the camera that we're supposed to get up there, and that our first pit stop along the way is over in this direction. What do you think about the differences between the lower level music game versus symphonic arrangement? The symphonic arrangement is a lot more active. There is a lot more just content, I would say, in terms of like pitch material. A lot of very imposing swells in the brass. So the symphonic suite is its own thing. It also does, you can hear the Symphony of the Traveler if you search for Traveler Austin Wintory on YouTube. The entire thing is available, the recording with the London Symphony. I would suggest that it would be worth it for you to purchase the recording, but you can check it out on YouTube along with a commentary track. So a lot of reverence here. Exotic percussion. Chimes. See you tomorrow, Ben. No promises. Okay. I suppose I could turn my microphone up a little bit. I am trying to make the music the star of this experience, but I'll turn up my microphone a little tiny bit. Thank you for that. The beauty of this game is that you cannot lose. You simply make progress. Have I missed a glyph, I wonder? I feel like I may have. So now here we've got wonderful, beautiful melody, very reverent in the violins. Again, as we get closer to the end, further through the game, more orchestra. Let's go for a ride in our friend here. beautiful dynamic moments. Oop, don't fall off, sorry. Oh, there's a glyph. Alright, let's get that so we can enjoy this. Austin has said that he was very much inspired by the visual design of this level. And, you know, some of the most reverent music, some of the most intimate, powerful through its intimacy, the music in this section, I think it's quite remarkable. Beautiful subtle work in the thumb register of the thumb position. The cello by Tina there. An interesting aspect about this Kingston Symphony concert is that, worth mentioning, is that this is on our Masterworks series. This isn't a Pops concert. This is Masterworks. We're treating it with the same care, preparation, and esteem that we do on a series that we hear Brahms and Beethoven. I think more and more we're starting to discover that yes, there is music written by contemporary composers on a whole host of mediums that is worthy very much of being on the Masterworks concert. I mean, I'm certainly a huge advocate and champion for this kind of music. Between this and the Pops experience we're going to have with Cuphead and Celeste, it's a big year for video game music with the Kingston Symphony. Truly excellent video game music, if I do say so myself, but I can't wait for this weekend. How's my audio level? Am I doing a little bit better now? So at this point of the game, this is where we have, before the snow level, as we approach the peak, this is where Austin inserts the movement of confluence. The musical highlights of all of these encounters with the white-robed ancients. Shadow of the Colossus is an amazing game and an amazing soundtrack. I think this one takes the cake. It's much more of a dynamic experience. It's much more of the DNA of Journey. There is some thrilling music when you fight the Colossi, for sure. But this is just Austin created some true magic here. Final stretch. Look at this. Well, you're most welcome. Again, Kingston Symphony Orchestra, this coming Saturday and Sunday. Just a couple short days from now. Our first rehearsal begins tomorrow. Oops. What am I doing? My goodness. Yes, it's very much inherent to the game, but what's fascinating about it, and I think that this is the mark of true artistry for these sorts of things, while it is obviously meant to accompany the game, it stands alone by itself. I recently did a concert of John Williams, some of his greatest hits, some of his best music also. Sometimes the two are one and the same, sometimes, in my opinion, they do happen to be a little bit different. I have a huge fondness for the score to E.T., the Extraterrestrial from 1982. I think that's one of the most magnificent film scores ever, if not the most, probably the most for me. And I can tell you that is a score that does not need the visual element. It is that strong, even though that's its whole reason for being. So, things start off innocently enough, little trills in the violins. We see our sentinel. Enemies are here with some multiphonics and some sinister music. And as we come to understand that the remaining road ahead is actually quite a steep, rocky, and cold one indeed, bitterly so, the music reacts accordingly. Oh, I may have made a mistake here. Oh no, I'm going to make it good. Here we are. So you'll see here actually that my scarf is frozen over. You don't get very many opportunities to jump here. So it's cold. It is not despairing. You know, I should say the closest thing to, I mentioned our other concert upcoming where with the speed run with Cuphead and Celeste. The closest thing that has been done to that end actually is Journey live in concert, which has been done. There is a small ensemble orchestration of the original soundtrack that is played dynamically in sync with the game. It does seem more electronic here, yes. There's a lot of the moments of danger, I think, are symbolized by synthetic instruments that are playing in a sinister manner. Here we are, we hear our sentinel. Sentinels are close by. Again, for our concert, it's 100% acoustic. It's all the colors of the orchestra. Pretty big orchestra. One of our biggest for the year. So I don't have the score in front of me, obviously, right now, but I think it's triple winds. 4 percussionists, I want to say. Brass is 4-3-3-1, 4 horns, 3 trumpets, 3 trombones, 1 tuba, timpani, and a lot of percussion, as I say, 3 or 4 players, harp, and strings. And in addition to the Traveler Symphony, again, the concert world premiere of this piece, first time it has ever been performed live. We're performing Bill Roson's fanfare for Canada's 150th anniversary, the sesquicentennial. Oh, a nice moment of warmth here, and of course a dynamic musical cue to register that. Oh. I think I looked in the one direction that I... There we go. Here's another story glyph. I don't think the violin represents anything in particular. But here we are, we do hear upper strings, we hear the flute. tremolo. Yeah, and there my jump is all gone. It gets, the cold saps it from my scarf. You know, I don't know if I've ever fallen. I'm pretty sure you can fall and there's an alternate route to get up here, but so to answer your question overall, I would guess maybe 60, 65 players on stage at the Isabel Bader Center. Now a lot of lower strings. Tina peeking out through in the midst of this. So it doesn't really matter because I don't have much of an opportunity to jump from here in this level. I'm going to do my very best to avoid getting spotted by those guys. I'm going to stay here. Oh. You hear a lot of these sort of random sounding bowings and these sorts of things. That kind of effect is achieved quite a lot in the symphonic suite. A lot of what we call aleatoric bits. They don't sync up with each other. Austin will say play these 5 or 6 notes rapidly one after another. Don't match up with the next person, the person sitting next to you. So there's a sort of a random frenetic effect. Where are you? You know, I wonder if the absence of music on that second area has to do with the fact that relatively few people will experience that. There's sometimes there's a practical aspect to composition that one has to consider. I think actually about one of my very favorite tracks from Mega Man 3 for the Nintendo Entertainment System is the credit music. It's absolutely bonkers. Mega Man 3 is a pretty hard game though. Obviously not everyone is going to make it to the credits. Alright, where'd you go, my friend? You're sweeping back, I see. Can you make another pass? I don't think you do. You're not fooling me. Wait, hold on, maybe you are. No, you go that way. All right, fine. I am really going to try to avoid getting hit by these guys. Again, the only penalty is that you lose your the length of your scarf, which at this point is immaterial. In fact, you can play the whole game, of course, with the minimum scarf length. So a bit of a moment of respite, and if I'm correct, actually the camera is going to look overhead at this point as the music changes. Yes. For those of you who are into video games, this is very reminiscent of a fixed angle in Metroid Prime in the Phendrana Drifts. beautiful, sweet moment here. Cinematic moment here where the camera directs us to where we're supposed to go. Orchestra swells, lots of strings. So this very intimate moment. We hear now, as we get to this aspect of things, more of that tremolo. The music becoming very dangerous again. That's a bad time for the camera angle to switch. Am I going to make it? I might not make it here. I don't know. Oh, no, I'm okay, good. You can definitely get blown down on the lower level there. No real penalty. So here, where their ultimate stretch, music gets very active, dangerous. One of the most frightening moments in the original score here, amplified with the orchestra. Oh, this wind is blowing my scarf away. I never even noticed that. I have literally none left. So as the music dies, we're left with bare violins. This is even more horrific if you're playing with an online partner. This is how the movement ends in the symphonic score as well. We're slowing down, but even as we get to the mountain with the split peak, it starts to be obscured. Very wise choice to actually be completely devoid of music here, just sound effects. As our pace slows. And eventually we just can't go on any further. And this interstitial moment is long enough that I know people will question whether or not that's the actual end. This is where Apotheosis begins. It's the most popular and enduring passage from this soundtrack. And it's made all the more poignant and powerful by virtue of everything we've done to get here. This incredible moment. I should say, there is something I haven't mentioned about the symphonic suite, is that it includes a choir, good friends from the Isabel voices. It adds a whole new dimension to this music. So this is the perfect marriage of the narrative and emotional design of the music paired with the design of the game itself. And of course, very gently the music sinks to where you happen to be in the level. There we are. You are going to love the Isabel. It is a world-class facility. We're very lucky in Kingston to have this concert hall. Is in the symphonic suite. Apotheosis is pretty hard to beat, but I'm very fond of the Road of Trials. Try to time this a little bit to not skip it out of the music. soft moment of reflection. Perfect fifths, tremolos in the strings, and the final iteration of our theme, played by the solo cello. Isn't that incredible? So now with the credit sequence, we have our final musical selection. This is I Was Born for This. The text from several historical works of literature, poetry. To Everything There Is a Season, My Time Is Come. Culminating in Joan of Arc's Do Not Cry for Me, I Was Born for This. You're most welcome. And of course, here's where we realize music composed by Austin Wintory. Here's where we realize that those shooting stars are just life's energy in a cycle, returning to the beginning. Sunday's going to be amazing. KingstonSymphony.ca. Buy your tickets. This is literally the only place in the world you're going to be able to hear this music. Saturday evening, Sunday afternoon. For the first time ever. I will reiterate that I do consider this to be the greatest acoustic score yet written for a game. sorry, I hope there weren't too many spoilers. I mean, that is actually, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest final stretch in terms of resolution and narrative arc fulfillment. Pre-concert talks for both performances, Saturday evening and also Sunday afternoon, 1 hour before the concert begins. Free with your ticket purchase. Observe Let's Play game streamers play through this game, you will find that the majority of them are also emotionally overcome by the end. Probably the most profound gaming experience I've had, certainly as an adult. It's been interesting. I'm old enough to remember the humble origins of gaming with primitive arcade machines, ColecoVision, and television. And now we're at the point where the hardware essentially allows us to fully realize our imagination. So there we are, we're back to the beginning, and eagle-eyed people will notice that on that left side there with those banners with these scarves, that's actually the first peak that we ascend when we see the title screen. I'm certainly hoping that this piece gets performed more often now that there are a set of parts specifically for concert performance that may incentivize other orchestras to be able to perform this live in concert. So that's Journey, folks. It's not going to show, it goes right to press X for a new journey, because of course we did not play with anybody else this time, which is one of the joys of playing this game. I'm sorry to not do that, but I figured again this was a trip through the music. Kingston Symphony Orchestra, KingstonSymphony.ca. Buy tickets for this Saturday evening and this Sunday afternoon. Bill Rosen's Fanfare for Canada's 150th and Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet are an incredible piece, both incredible pieces. And then in the second half, the world concert premiere of Austin Wintory's Symphony of the Traveler, an orchestral realization of this extraordinary, magnificent, genius score for Journey. Thank you all very much. Thus concludes our stream. I hope that's been something that you have all enjoyed or taken something from. If you happen to have any further questions, you can go on our website, KingstonSymphony.ca, and there is a contact form, I think, there, if you want to ask me something or ask the orchestra something. We're all looking forward to performing this live for you Saturday and Sunday. Thank you very much.